You're the one who can't
have
handle it
more.
and has to act like a social disgrace.
This is a
Every time
sober
you have
man
to ounce
tonight.
of beer,
Okay.
not me. And he's like, "Oh, Scott, I don't like the." Hey, big green machine, shut your fly trap. This is Big Pick 4, the weekly show where the NFL pickers will give you the best 4 picks for Sunday NFL games, to include the guaranteed picks from Danny D and Brian B. So as we recap last week, we see that the only 2 out of 4 picks that won were the combined picks, being your Panthers and Broncos. The only 2 picks that lost were your guaranteed picks, the Chiefs and the Ravens. What the Ravens? What is Ravens? What's wrong with this picture?
Oh, yeah, those games were blowouts, too. I think they lost by a combined 77-14, I think. Those 2 teams. Yeah.
Baltimore just laid an egg. I don't know.
Yeah, the Chiefs, I mean, the Colts have been absolutely brutal on the road the last, 3 or 4 road games. I guess that they finally got their act together. Maybe the Chiefs got exposed a little bit here. I don't know. Those are just 2 horrible picks.
I thought without Gronkowski, the Patriots would struggle. I don't know.
Yeah, some weird stuff, though, happened at the end of that game, too. He got all those extra touchdowns. But, I don't know. Baltimore just didn't show up. Yeah, some sort of, I guess, big-time letdown after that big Monday night game where they destroyed, not destroyed, but they beat...
Timmy? Is that Timmy?
Where they beat, what do you call it, Detroit. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. That was 2 very bizarre games.
Did Ray Rice have any stats for last week?
And I think his usual awful game. The Patriots dump trucked them.
So there you have your Week 16 excuses are in. Which brings us to our overall being a 31 win, 33
Excuse.
Well,
The
I was
Big
watching
B
cartoons. That's his excuse.
at 5-11, and the Big B at an even 8-8. We can get back to a 500 this week with a 4-0. Correct?
No, 3-1.
Oh, 3-1. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, both of you. I think that's a family problem here. Both of you had trouble grasping that. Brian didn't understand that either.
Well, that's what you're for, genius.
That's right. We need to go 4-0.
That's why you have a Jew on the
That's
on the
right.
squad.
It's a good at
Right.
Yeah, we need to be 4-0 to have a winning season. If we go 4-0, we will be 35-33 heading into the playoff shows.
Hey, thank you, Shylock, for those
Yeah.
great
You're
data.
welcome. Next week's math lesson, how to add. So stay tuned for that.
And
next
how
week.
to, and also in the same lesson, how to rip people off by charging huge amounts of interest.
Yeah, right. You should know.
Me?
Yeah.
You can get a lot of pounds of flesh out of Brian. He's got a lot to give.
Oh, yeah. I've had to Shylock him a time or two. You know, I threatened to come over to his apartment. He knows how it works.
How's he coming on those payments for the Chromebook?
I paid
He
you.
paid me back.
I paid him back.
He paid me back
Fuck
in
you.
full within like a couple
Hey.
weeks.
Fuck you, Scott.
How about a little ad lib for the show here? Come on.
F you?
Ad lib. What is this? The laughing?
I was leading. That was a leading question. I was leading for, oh, Brian's a dope. He didn't pay. Ha, ha, ha.
Hey,
Well, that's the usual story, but he actually did pay.
by the way,
He
Scott,
just paid for fantasy football though, 4 months after everybody else did.
Let's give it to him.
He teach you on a payment plan for that too, for that $60.
By the way, we should wish Dan luck. He's in the championship for fantasy football.
Yep, that's right.
He can win $300 or something like that.
Yeah, $300, which I'll put to good use.
He's gonna take me out to lunch. He said.
Yeah,
Capital Grill.
I'll give him $5 to go to McDonald's. He can get whatever he wants.
And who's your quarterback for so you're in the Super Bowl, and who's your quarterback?
Aaron Rodgers is back, so I'm using him.
Against who?
He's against the Bears.
No, but I mean, who's your opponent?
My opponent has Russell Wilson. I don't know. It's all about luck. Because my team isn't that great, to be honest. My running backs are horrible, but somehow I made it to the championship. I mean, I have that Rainey guy from Tampa and CJ Do-Nothing from the Bills. Really, the guy who saved me last week was Eric Decker. He had 35 points last week. He had 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He really saved me, and he got me to the championship. And fortunately, this week the Broncos are going to have to play in order to get home field throughout. So I expect him to have another big day against the lousy Raiders, who seem to be playing. It's like playing against air, the way they play defense. So hopefully they can carry me.
Damn you.
And I have Carolina defense if we're going against that great Atlanta juggernaut. So I hope to have a good week.
We will now have our week 17 Vag of the Week leading up to the Vaggie Award of the Year.
This week 17 Vag of the Week is Jim Schwartz, the head coach of the Detroit Lions. This is a man whose team was 6-3, who are now 7-8, going 1-5 in the last 6 games. He's done an absolutely terrible job. Their team's completely collapsed. He's an idiot. The defensive coordinator's an idiot, and the offensive coordinator's an idiot, and the quarterback's an idiot, and Calvin Johnson's an idiot because he drops passes left and right. And last week, at the end of that Giants debacle, in which they lost to a Giants team which had absolutely nothing to play for and just doesn't care, against Sheila Manning, who's thrown 100 interceptions, Jim Schwartz decides to start yelling at the crowd who were booing him for doing a bad job at the end of the game. How can you do that? How can you turn around and start yelling at these people who, first of all, come from Detroit, who Detroit, the city itself is in bankruptcy. The people don't have any money there. They put out good money to go to these games. And then you sit there and start yelling at them. That's really insulting. It's like these people pay your ass. You get paid millions of dollars a year to sit there and do something, which he hasn't. And then to sit there and yell at them is disgraceful. And your team's performance is even worse. Hopefully he's fired. He should be fired. First thing Monday, that should be it for him. Otherwise, I think people are going to go there and blow up the stadium. And because he yelled at these people, it's he wins. I mean, that was just a terrible performance by a head coach. Not only to have your team collapse, but to act that way. If one of your players does it, it's not good, but you can kind of understand as a player, but not the head coach. Head coach has to be above that, and he wasn't. So he wins.
You have Cutler on the bench, Aaron Rodgers on the bench. You've got all the personnel to make a run at the division. You've got a good record mid-season, and you just piss it away.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, everybody was out. Minnesota was going nowhere. They should have ran away with this division.
Yeah.
This should have been over weeks ago. And instead, they fell completely on their face. They were bad. Then they had that one good game against the Packers, which was really a lucky game in a bunch of ways because of all the turnovers. And then after that, they've lost every game since. They've lost 4 in a row. There's no way to explain it.
We might see Marty Morningwig version 2.0 here coming back.
Bring back Wayne.
We're gonna kick.
Bring back Wayne.
Deer in headlights.
We're gonna kick.
And by the way, at Christmas there was a guy there who was a Jets fan, and he was just killing Marty Morningwig. He said this guy is the dumbest, worst offensive coordinator in the history of football, who should be dragged down the streets and fired. So I thought that was funny.
His son is a quarterback for Florida.
Miami. Oh, Florida?
Yeah, he played like 2 or 3 games.
Wow, they actually have a Morningwig on the team. No wonder they had such a bad year.
That's why they're 4-.
Yeah, right. They're 4-8 or something. Yeah.
Yo, they lost to a team that didn't even pass the ball.
They didn't pass the ball
Georgia
once. They ran the ball the whole game. And
they lost.
Yeah. And that's what happens to you have a Morningwig on your squad.
That's a lesson for all you coaches. Do not have a Morningwig.
Yeah, and all professional teams. If you want the first pick in the draft, hire Marty as your head coach. Go Raiders.
So we will now have combined pick number 1, week 17. Let's have it.
Our first combined pick for week 17 is Carolina at Atlanta. Carolina favored by 5.5. Atlanta stinks. So as I said, Scott O'Hearn rule: pick the bad teams. It's not that huge of a line. I understand Steve Smith's going to be out, but I don't think it really matters. So Atlanta's defense is beat up. A couple more guys in defense aren't going to play this Sunday. What's his name? Sean Weatherspoon's out, and Jaquiz Rogers, the running back, he's not going to play. So they have no one to run the ball. Steven Jackson's had an absolutely horrific season. If I should just quit, he's been awful. Matt Ryan tries, but he gets hit too much. Their offensive line is terrible, and the Carolina front should really have a good day against that team. They have Roddy White. He'll make some plays, but maybe Gonzalez will here or there. But other than that, they really have nothing going on offensively. And their defense is terrible. Their defense is absolutely awful. So I expect, even though the Carolina should be a little short, they should be able to run the ball and throw the ball fairly effectively, and I think they'll have a good day. Carolina's a lot on the line here. If they win, they secure a number 2 seed in the conference, and they get a week off, and that home game against whoever the wild card winner is, so that should help them. And they're also a team that has a chance against Seattle in Seattle if they make it there, because they can play defense, they can run the ball, and they can play in the elements. So because of that, because of everything they have on the line, I mean, this is another big game for Carolina like last week. I expect them to come out and beat the Atlanta by more than 5.5 points.
Here comes Cam Newton.
Cam. I like when Dion says that.
Yeah.
Like, Cam.
That's Cameron to you. Let's have combined pick number 2.
Week 17, combined pick number 2 is going to be Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is -7. Take Pittsburgh. In the last 7 games, Pittsburgh is 5-2. Pittsburgh's played well at home. Cleveland doesn't really play well on the road. Pittsburgh has a lot to play for. If they win and a couple other scenarios happen, they make the playoffs. Basically, for all those reasons, pick Pittsburgh, and also pick against Jason Campbell because he's garbage.
Where's Jason Campbell factored into this?
He plays for the Browns. Even though you think he plays for the Raiders, he currently plays for the Browns.
No, he still thinks he plays for the Redskins.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and Kyle Bowler
for the
plays for
Reds
the
as
Ravens,
quarterback.
and
the
Randall
Washington
Cunningham plays
Redskins.
for the Eagles, and Ron Jaworski plays for the Bills. Yeah.
Campbell reminds me of the old Detroit quarterback. Well, even before Charlie Batch, because Charlie Batch actually did very well as a backup at Pittsburgh. But who is the white guy before him? That was
Scott Mitchell,
No, he's.
Yeah, Mitchell.
Oh.
No, after Mitchell.
Don Mikowski.
No, after Mitchell, but before Batch was a kid that was kind of like a Jason Campbell. He started in Detroit, and then he went around and just botched backup job after backup job and just washed out.
Steve Walsh.
Scott? No, because Scott Mitchell had some success.
I don't know. I have an idea of who you're talking about. I
Yeah, this
forget.
Scott Mitchell. Yeah, he was after.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can just picture the kid's face. I can't think of his name.
Oh well. The
Have
old,
another beer, it might help you.
the old Silverdome days. Yeah.
Yo, you haven't
Oh,
sponsored the beer you're drinking, Scott. You usually start the show off.
well, I'm embarrassed. It's a little bit of hoity-toity
Oh, it's
today.
classy?
Oh,
Sam
Adams.
Adams. Oh, Scott doesn't like that it's
nice.
classy.
Yeah, he's out drinking the old
IPL.
Strohs there. Remember
It's an
that?
IPL,
He's
which
not-
is actually
Yo, what happened? You're not loyal to the cheap beers, Scott?
Yeah, what
what
happened to
happened?
Strohs or Bud Light?